What's up, y'all? This your boy Prime.
I'm Precision.
And this is The
Code.
Code. Thank y'all for tuning in today. Again, we appreciate all the love and support. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, all of that.
And even if you get something from this podcast that don't necessarily benefit you, I don't see how that could be the case, Prime. But you know, sometimes you already got what you need, but there's somebody out there that maybe needs to hear these words or that podcast or that information that you already know. So go ahead and share it too.
Yeah, and sometimes it just have somebody give a different perspective of something, you know what I'm saying, could make it sink in a little bit deeper for somebody. We all in our own path in our journey, and though you may be ahead of somebody else, you may, you know what I'm saying, get them up to speed on where you at. So if you see something you like in here, share it to somebody else. But for today's episode, we really want to focus on giving y'all an understanding of what code is, first of all, and what it means to us. Because code is not just the word code, you know what I'm saying? It's an acronym for us. So the C stands for cultivate, the O is for optimize.
You know, you got to be able to develop. So that's what the D's for. And then E is going to be for elevate. So using all four of those words together is going to be the best way you can improve your mindset and your perspective. That's kind of what we want to talk about today. Not only, you know, how we come up with code and why we come up with code, what it means to us, but also how can we change our perspective on things that can benefit our lives.
Because I think perspective is going to be the key to doing all of these things, whether you're trying to cultivate new skills, develop them, optimize your day-to-day life, and elevate to the next level. You know what I'm saying? You're going to need perspective and a great mindset to be able to really accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. So, you know what I'm saying? That's what we're going to start with. So let's get into it.
Let's talk about it. I'm on a journey as well. You know, by day, I work 9 to 5. I'm a father, you know, but at the same time, I'm still trying to optimize and cultivate my skills so I can pursue my passions. You know what I mean? So cultivating those skills to optimize, you know, my time. That way I can develop my children's life and hopefully develop some of y'all into thinking about a different perspective. And overall, while I'm elevating, just sharing that love and sharing that information with everybody else. You know, that's the code I live by.
Yeah, man, really, and the code again is just about sharing stuff that we go through along our journey that we feel like could help somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like most of the stuff that I learned came from being able to dig and go through research and not really having nobody to just give me a heads up on how to do this or how to do that. So I'm just trying to share the information that I had to dig to find, and you know what I'm saying, go through hell and high water to learn and experience and go through certain stuff that everybody don't have to learn from experience. You know what I'm saying? So I got a 9 to 5, I work, but every day I'm striving to be the best me that I can be. And that's really what code is about, whether it be the best you in a relationship, the best you at work, the best you with your friends and family, the best version of you in any scenario. You know what I'm saying? So we're not just going to be talking about family stuff. We're going to have, you know what I'm saying, financial advice. We're going to get professionals to come in on the show and give us their perspective and their piece of information that's going to help benefit. So it's not just going to be guessing on this show. We're going to come with real facts and real information.
And like you said, man, on this episode, you're going to hear the word perspective a lot because we understand, like, the way you look at things, the way you go about your day is all based off your perspective. So that's going to basically make your next move. How you view something now is going to determine how you go about it and what's your next move. You know, like you always heard, you know, if you get off that horse, you get up and you get back on. So if you got a messed up perspective, you might not get back on that horse. Now you can't elevate. So you can kind of see how it all ties together when it comes to living by the code you want to live by, but first shifting that perspective to get there.
All right, and when you talk about making your next move, you want to make your next move your best move. So being able to cultivate, optimize, and develop a strategic plan around how you want to do these things, and knowing that even when stuff get hard, you can't give up on what the bigger picture goal is, and keeping your perspective of what's important in the overall grand scheme of whatever your mission is. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, whether it be personal, work, side hustles, relationships, whatever it is that you benefit
that.
from this show, man, how you gonna make it benefit you overall in your day-to-day life? That's what it's about.
So now that you done got the premise of the episode, let's take a deep dive.
Let's get into perspective. All right. So when it comes to perspective, the reason we want to talk about that is because we feel like perspective is going to be the most important part of this journey. No matter what your journey is for, the perspective on how you look at that journey and how you attack the things that come at you is going to be the most important thing. You got to be able to understand and see the bigger picture, be able to stay positive, be able to stay perseverant, not give up when it get hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all had to overcome things that we, at the end of the day, your perspective on the world around you and even yourself is going to play a big part in how you respond to everything that you encounter. So having the most positive but realistic perspective and being realistic not only with the things that you see around you, but even with yourself and the things that you're doing and holding yourself accountable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's facts, man. Because I'll tell y'all a short story. When I knew it was time for me to switch my perspective, like, we've all been in relationships, right? Prime, I know you've been in a relationship before, right?
For sure.
Chad, I know y'all been in a relationship before. So, you ever been in a relationship where you just stuck, you just keep doing things that's not serving you? You kind of just almost going with the flow.
Autopilot.
You're on autopilot. You're not living life. Life is living you. So whenever that's the case, it's usually a great time to take a step back, an out-of-body experience, look at yourself from a different perspective, you know what I mean? And that kind of can let you know what? Me keep doing this is not serving me well at all. I feel stuck. I'm in a rut. Those are times where it's most likely time to switch your perspective so you can grow and develop. You know what I mean? So I was in a relationship for 4 years, and during that time, it was just more about keeping the house happy. You know what I mean? I put what I wanted to the side on the back burner, and it just overall it didn't fulfill me. Looking at it, hindsight, 2020 vision is a motherfucker, right?
Man, every time.
So looking back on it, I realized, I'm doing these things, but I'm not feeling like I'm being served or fulfilled, internally. And, I quit going to the gym, all kind of different things when it comes to stop growing. I was stuck in that rut, and I didn't even know I should have been changing my perspective. So we fast forward to now, when I have this different perspective, I realize, I can't fill up an empty cup with an empty cup.
Facts.
So I got to start here internally to make sure I can develop a relationship or whatever it may be. Because, when we talk about relationships, we're not just talking about dating or marriages, right? We all
work relationships.
Exactly. We all got business relationship, work relationship, family dynamics that can all make us feel maybe empty or even isolated at a point. And that's, like I said, that's when you want to be able to take a step back and see how can you change your perspective so you can pick this thing up off the ground and keep it moving.
Right. And again, like you said, not pouring from an empty cup, because you can't do nothing for nobody else if you ain't taking care of yourself. And that's it, just to piggyback off what he said, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of my story. Like, I was a people pleaser at all times, trying to run and do this for everybody and not taking the time to make sure that I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? Making sure that the things that I want to accomplish are getting done, the goals that I set are being attacked at the full force that they need to be, with my undivided attention when I need them to be that. And like he said, you know what I'm saying, making sure that you have a support group around you that serves that purpose and not somebody around you just to distract you. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to have friends that are there for distractions, but you got to know it's a time and a place for everything. You got to know when the time and the place is for those friends, and when I need somebody serious, and understanding the dynamic of those relationships and getting a full perspective on what that really is and what purpose it serves, and figuring out, okay, how does it serve me getting to this next level? Or is that just something that just serves me for entertainment? You know what I'm saying? Which is okay. Everything has a time and a place. But learning when the time and the place is for those things is very key to being able to really drive home whatever your goals are. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to make the appropriate time for everything, because it's a balance. You know what I'm saying? I'm not telling you to go kill yourself working every day, because you know what I'm saying, work hard, you play harder. You know what I'm saying? You want to enjoy life too. You're not working to work yourself to the graveyard. You know what I'm saying? You want to make sure you're able to enjoy the fruits of your labor, but being able to have that perspective to know that I'm gonna miss out on temporary fun and certain things. I may not be able to help everybody or do all the things that I want to do because I have a goal that I have to accomplish. And your real support group and your real friends are going to be okay with supporting that and not pressuring you to feel like, oh, you missing out on something, or you wasn't there for me because you did this. But they understand, they got the same type of drive if they really your support group and your friends, and everybody else gonna weed themselves out, man. You can't be lost on that, man. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I was about to say, and if they don't understand, that's a perfect time to take that out of body experience and look at it and see, okay, I'm trying to do A, but my so-called support group is not supporting A. So how is the so-called support group serving you? You know what I mean? Like you say, it can be an entertainment type of thing. You know, I used to be heavy into video games. I was playing too much video games. I was getting too much entertainment. Too many endorphins was being released off instant gratification. You know, getting that kill on Call of Duty or scoring that 3-ball on some 2K. So, you know, you can still game. You can still go to the gym. You know, we both in the gym, but you'll never see us in the gym 7 days a week, because we know life is all about a balance. Everything is to be done in moderation.
You need water to survive, but too much of it and you'll drown. It's still everything has its purpose. You know what I'm saying? You gotta understand it. Again, even when you talk about looking at your support group, when you talk about what is your support group, what are the people around you trying to accomplish themselves, and do they align with the things that you're trying to accomplish? Because if not, they're probably not your support group. They're probably not the ones that align with your true purpose if they're not on the same type of mission you on. And that's okay. Everybody has their own mission. Everybody has their own purpose. But you got to understand, again, to align with the things that serve you and serve your purpose.
So that there lets you know why change your perspective matters, and kind of when it's time to take that step to change your perspective. So we're going to go ahead and take it a little deeper on this next topic.
Let's get into it.
We want to go ahead and get into a segment we call Thinking with Precision.
So we really want to just step back and kind of go over just within the last year or just sometime recently that we both had to change our perspective on something and reevaluate the situation, and you know what I'm saying, come out with a different way of thinking, or a different way of handling or moving or going through things. So I think for me, one of the biggest things that I had to change my perspective on is really just how to be successful. Like, I used to box myself in, you know what I'm saying, and be like, I can only be successful doing these things, you know what I'm saying, the things that I love, you know what I'm saying. Like, if it's not in this little box of things of what I want to do, then I'm not trying to do it. But I really had to change my perspective and understand that if I have long-term goals and things that I'm trying to accomplish, I can't just narrow my options of, I gotta just do this, you know what I'm saying. Like, I started learning to look at other avenues of being able to make money, learn how to invest, and you know what I'm saying, it's things that even if I don't become the greatest at or invest a whole lot of time into, I can use it to reap some type of benefit, whether it be networking, meeting new people that can help me in another scenario, right, but not limiting myself to the small little box or world that I think I'm supposed to live in, and really expanding my options and learning to try new things and get out of my own way of just turning something down or saying no because I don't want to, because I really don't know if I don't want to. The truth is, I really don't want to do it because I'm either afraid of doing it, afraid of failing, or afraid of getting it wrong, whatever the case may be, and learning to get out of my own way and understand that you can't learn if you're not failing at something. But as long as you're not giving up, the failure is not the end. You got to be able to understand that the failure just leaves you room for growth. It leaves room for you to go back and do better. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even succeeding still leaves room for you to go back and do better. And that was what I had to change my perspective on, is understanding that a loss is not a loss. but a win is still also something that can be developed. You know what I'm saying? Like seeing the perspective on both ends and learning again, just not to limit myself to one way. What about you?
So for me, man, it's kind of like what you were saying as far as being in a comfortable state. Usually that's where we like to go towards. People usually either running away from some pain or running towards pleasure. And if you're doing something you always like, that'll be you running towards pleasure. You know what I mean? So for me, just taking my skills or skills that I didn't even know I wanted to learn. Like for me, I've been diving into basically curating my creative side. So I done got into the guitar, modeling, acting. You know what I mean? I've seen guys model, but I thought that was just for girls. You know what I mean? I thought that was only for women as far as, being in front of the camera and doing that type of thing. So getting uncomfortable and getting myself into that field. And now I can actually speak to some things, gaining experience. I can teach somebody something, when it comes to getting my guitar. When getting it, I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. The guys in the store trying to explain, this is the one you want, the left hand, you need the tuner. I'm like, okay, I don't know, but give it to me, because for the longest, I've always went to what's comfortable. You know what I mean? Had I spent another 20 minutes in that guitar store, I probably would have never gotten it. I would have talked myself out of it because it was the unknown, the fear of failure. What if my fingers don't work on it? So that's one thing that kind of just put it in perspective for me, that although something isn't comfortable, it doesn't mean run away from it. Even though something is painful, doesn't necessarily mean you gotta run away from it. Because you gotta remember that the rule of 10,000. Those 10,000 hours spent is gonna accumulate over time. That compound learning is gonna accumulate, so you can actually hone in that skill and go from basic level to novice to rookie to pro to legendary status. And that's the 10,000 hours. So basically, being in a routine of taking something that's uncomfortable for you and maybe practicing that one thing for 30 minutes, or let's start smaller, just 10 minutes, because we all know, as far as our gym goers, the hardest thing is getting in the car and driving to the gym. It's not the workout, just doing it is just getting in the car, especially if it's cold outside or something. You're looking for every excuse not to do it. So for me, taking that approach of 10,000 and knowing maybe I might not start as being the greatest guitarist or model or actor. I might not start right there where I want to be, but the fact that I'm practicing and practicing is going to get easier and easier over time. And then the more I share this outward, you learn more about yourself or about whatever you're trying to teach, because you're talking about it more. It stays fresh. You're having to constantly teach people new things, and you end up teaching yourself something new.
And you never know who you can inspire. You know what I'm saying? And especially in thinking about his situation, because he got lucky that the people at the store was even helpful. Sometimes you run into people that immediately gonna shoot you down before you even get started. They're like, oh, you don't need to do that. You too late to learn, or you know what I'm saying? So being able to have that perspective of I'm gonna do it regardless of what anybody else says, what anybody else brings to me. And that's really a good segue into what our next episode is going to be about. And when we talk about mindset and just being able to overcome negativities and bad destructive behaviors. And again, the negativities, whether it be negativity from somebody else or from yourself, and destructive behaviors and mindsets and the things that you do that feel like they helping, but in the long run really just, you know what I'm saying, either a waste of your time or a distraction. Like you said, running to pleasure when you could be actually working or doing something that in the long term will give you actual pleasure, because you'll be able to enjoy something and not just have that instant gratification.
I swear, man, because like learning a skill, I don't think there's nothing that gives you as much confidence as learning an actual skill. Like to know you were at ground zero and now you level 3 out of 100, it's like, yo, I was here, but I can see myself already growing and getting to level 3, and then level 5. Now you level 10. So that compound learning, like we said, that's going to be something that is going to be ultimately what gives you the ultimate confidence. And
And that confidence is key, to be honest with you, like, because like he said, like, though you may start at one place, by the time you get where you want to be, your confidence level is going to be through the roof. And again, you never know who you might inspire. I see people all the time that, because I'm a dancer, they like, man, I just love watching you dance, and you look so happy and you look like you enjoy yourself. And that's because I just take the time to be to myself. I do it for me. I don't do it for nobody else. I do it because that's what I want to learn, and that's what I want to put my time into. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care about how somebody else gonna see it or whether they like it or not. But at the end of the day, me being courageous enough and having the confidence to do it and execute it on a regular basis and not give up no matter what or how I feel, inspires people to want to do the same thing in whatever it is they do, even if it's not dancing. But I've had people approach me like, man, look, I see you in your zone and it make me dance more. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And that's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? Like, spreading some type of joy, happiness, and that helps build your confidence when you can see how you affecting other people. So don't be afraid to go live your life and do whatever it is that makes you happy. You know what I'm saying? Just you gotta have that right perspective to execute.
To that point, Prime, I'm pretty sure Dan, you know, if you were to get paid for dancing, which I'm sure you do.
I have.
That alone isn't enough to keep you dancing, right? It's something about actually putting those moves together creatively that release those endorphins that make you want to keep doing it, right?
Yeah, like, I dance whether I get paid or not. Like, I'm at the gym every week dancing for 2-3 hours if I feel like it, just because that's what I love. But I also learn to incorporate the talents that I have into ways of getting me paid, but not just, again, incorporating the talents that I have to get me paid, but even the ones that I don't have and I may have thought at one point I never wanted, because you never know what you can truly be good at and where you can excel until you attempt it. And that's the biggest thing that we gonna try to get through to y'all when it comes to C.O.D.E and what we trying to bring across is being able to have the confidence to try whatever it is you think is going to help move your life forward. Cultivate, optimize, develop whatever it is that you looking to achieve so you can elevate to the next level.
Exactly. And that's been Thinking with Precision.
All right, man. So now we're going to get into Prime's highlights. Just a quick recap of some of the takeaways from today's episode and some of the things that we really want to resonate with y'all and in y'all spirit. You know what I'm saying? So the biggest thing is, again, perspective, being able to see things from another view, just put yourself in somebody else's shoes, you know what I'm saying? Or even just, not just that, but the stepping outside of the box, you know what I'm saying? Getting out of your comfort zone, you know what I'm saying? Trying something that you may have been procrastinating on or been telling yourself you're not good enough to do, or, you know what I'm saying, you're not going to be good enough. Getting outside of that tight little box that you putting yourself in and changing your perspective on what you're really capable of and trying to build that confidence in whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah, man. And I think we gave a lot of value out today. You know, talking about perspective and what C.O.D.E means. You know, this is the C.O.D.E we live by. So we just challenge you guys to do some homework, man. Just take a look back within the last year. What's some things you could have improved on? Where were you stuck at? Where would changing your perspective about a situation have benefited you? You know, we just ask that you take about 5 to 10 minutes, think to yourself, preferably write it down in your notes to get more understanding of it. That way you can actually go back and look at it. And we want to hear all about it in the comments. So like, share, subscribe, and we're going to see you in the comments down below.
Yeah, and just, again, get in your start with your comfort zone of wherever it is you like to gain a different perspective. If it's going to a family member, or you like to go, you know what I'm saying, do your research on Google, wherever it is you like to go to try to figure out what you may be missing. But, you know what I'm saying, take that step and that initiative to really step back and examine the things that you have going on and try to change your perspective.
I appreciate those highlights, Prime.
Yeah, man.
On the next episode, we're going to dive into a little bit about mindset and 2 things that you can learn from Diddy and a crackhead.
And look, I know it sounds crazy, right? But what we really trying to say is you have to learn from every perspective, from every scenario. Even though, you know what I'm saying, you may look at a crackhead and think, how can I learn something from them? You can learn a lot on what not to do. You know what I'm saying? It's learning that you are never unteachable. Until the day that you hit the grave, there is always something you can learn and benefit from if you pay attention well enough. If you really looking at what's in front of you and examining it and stepping back wholeheartedly, examining it with from every angle, there's a lesson to be learned in every story. So we need y'all to figure out what that is, and learn to look at things from a different perspective.
Talk to us. So as always, man, we appreciate you guys taking your time, whether it be on your daily commute, in the gym, or just walking your dog. This has been C.O.D.E. I'm Precision.
I'm Prime.
We'll see y'all next time.
Stick to the code.